Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this Smackdown opinions video. This is where we take a look at your thoughts, your theories, your opinions for Raw and Smackdown. Now, obviously it's Smackdown and there's plenty to talk about. We've had over 70 comments, right? So we need to get started. So let's get going, shall we, with Jason that said WWE is just too predictable. I thought The Rock's promo was flat. He did a promo earlier about Seth on social media and that was better. I think the tag match at Mania, Seth takes the pin and then The Rock hits Roman with the chair during Cody's match. So I think that there's a few bits to unpack there. I think that a few people are split on The Rock's promo. I'd say the vast majority really enjoyed it, but there are definitely people out there that felt that it took way too long. And I think you could shave 5-10 minutes off this thing, right? And I agree, you know, the meth, cocaine, crackhead stuff was strange, but I think that's him trying to get a bit of heel heat, of course. But the acknowledging part was amazing. The answering, the challenge part, like, you do obviously need those bits. But, yeah, I reckon we could have saved 5-10 minutes, whatever. But, wow, I mean, what a day for The Rock. He did, 21-minute promo on social media and then goes out and does a 20-odd-minute promo to start off SmackDown. So 40-odd minutes of promo from The Rock yesterday. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. In regards to Rock hitting Roman with the chair during Cody's match, I would just be a little worried about that, because I really think that if Cody is going to win the title, and we have said this before, I think he has to win it. I don't think he can win it because of someone else. Like, I think he has to win it. So I don't know that Rock is going to hit Roman with a chair, because then that does taint Cody winning the title, because there will be people that will say he's only won it because of The Rock, and I don't know that's the right way to end the story. So there could be a turn. It could be that Rock walks away and maybe Solo follows, Jimmy follows, and Roman doesn't know what's happening and he's all confused and it just leaves him and Cody. But honestly, there's so many different directions that we can go. There's so many different things that we can do. It's obviously a very, very interesting situation. And it still feels like there's going to be a few more twists and turns on the way to WrestleMania. Fred said the SmackDown must be one of the best of this new era, even the 20s, focusing more on finalizing the Mania cards. We got obvious updates on the whole Cody, Seth, Rock, Roman situation, Bayley versus Damage Control, Jade and Bianca versus Kabuki Warriors, ? Ray versus Santos, unmissable. I think Jade and Bianca against Kabuki Warriors would be great. I'm definitely on board with that. It's a great way to get Jade on the cards. I think Jade and Bianca trying to work together, being brought together by a common enemy, I kind of think that could be interesting. Bayley and Io, obviously. We've got that match already announced. Ray Santos, as you said, really, really interesting. You know, are we building towards Ray versus Santos at WrestleMania? It would probably feel like we are. So, Fred, as you said, unmissable. Hasib said, in my opinion, everything in the middle of the opening segment and the main event were a bit dry. Can't lie. Backstage segments were fun, but I feel people are praising WWE too much. Outside the Bloodline story and the Logan situation, with Randy potentially, others, nothing else is that appealing. Okay? As Akko, is it? Azako said the Bloodline segment was excellent. Great work by both Rock and Roman. Roman's ability to tell a story, even with subtle stuff like facial expressions, is absolutely incredible. I'm pretty convinced that Rock turns on Roman at Mania. I think it makes the most sense. Well, I'm just going to go back to what I said before, and that is I think if Cody's going to win the title, he has to win the title. So, I don't think The Rock can help him, because I just think it'd be such a shame for Roman to lose, and he loses because of some outside interference. I know a lot of people would say it would be poetic justice, because Roman certainly won a lot of times thanks to outside interference, but he's a heel, right? I don't really want Cody to win that way. I want Cody to win it nice and clean. So I don't know. It's a real tricky one. It's a real tricky one as to how Rock turns on Roman, or even if he turns on Roman, because we have said this before. They are planting a lot of seeds, a lot of indicators that the turn is going to happen. I think if you used to ask most people, they would say Rock's going to turn on Roman. So, a WWE planting these seeds to then swerve you, so that you're expecting something that doesn't actually happen? Or are they planting these seeds because they are going to go through with it? So, there's a couple of directions they could go there. But, yeah, I'm just a bit worried that, I think the priority is that we finish the story properly. That's my priority. I think there are so many ways to build Rock Roman that I really don't want to sacrifice Cody's moment. I really don't want to ruin the end of this historic title reign and the beginning of Cody's title reign, and do something, that we might look back on with regret. So I think I'm very focused on that rather than, are they going to turn on each other? What's that going to mean for Rock and Roman? I'm a bit more focused on Cody. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. People watching will have to let us know in the comments as to what they think is going to happen. And I suppose let's go that next step. If Rock turns on Roman, night 2, during Cody's match, say he hits him with a chair, do you think that's going to sour Cody winning the championship? Do you think there will be people, or will it feel like Cody hasn't really earned it? I'd be interested to know that. Right, Stephen Regans said Dakota betraying Bayley ahead of Mania makes me so much more excited for the championship. I look forward to seeing what allies Bayley can recruit to challenge Damage Control as the feud develops. Johnny Killers 13 said, I would prefer The Rock to hurry up. We get it. You're The Rock. You can do whatever you want and go over your time. Yay for you. It's not 2001, and a 30-minute segment with 10 minutes being pauses isn't cool or fun. Pick up the pace. I have seen people saying that, clearly. Cameron said, I can see Seth taking the pin, especially if it's main event night 1. Drew versus Seth could take place earlier night 1. Then Seth can go into the main event already tired and can easily take the pin. It's interesting. In my mind, I've got Seth Drew night 2, to be honest, but that's interesting. Also, I feel like Seth Drew will be night 1 since Cody Roman is on night 2. But Rancid Carbon said, flew by. Segment was long and was needed to be that long since a lot of the things were addressed. So will Rock acknowledge Roman? Will Rock be in a match? What match? You've got it about 8-ish out of 10. Very good. Quake says, Fightful reported that Michael Hayes did not produce the segment and was not listed in the showrunner as a producer. Curious, as he produces all Bloodline segments. Haven't heard any update on that, to be honest. Don't know if it was a vacation. Don't know if it is... There's certainly no news of any suspension or anything like that. Don't know if he had a little medical emergency or was feeling under the weather. Honestly, haven't heard anything. Male Thong Flasher Let's go. Good, solid episode. 8 out of 10 for me. The Rock segment was awesome, in my opinion. Morgan said 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and acknowledging Roman Reigns. One's up. So, Morgan, shout out to you. George said 8 out of 10. Crowd was so good. It was like they had taken something. Well, we know that many of them had. Chris said Bloodline stole the show. Well, I mean, literally. They didn't leave much left for anyone else. You're right. They did steal it. Eddie said the Rock Roman segment, 40 minutes, pure cinema. My prediction is Rock and Roman will win the tag team match, and at night 2, the Rock will cost Roman the title match. Rami said an amazing SmackDown. Everything was brilliant. Never got bored once. Brilliant. Right. Elijah Punk said, look, I love Triple H. Feels like it's going to be bad, doesn't it? WWE and his way of creative and all that. But after the Bloodline segment, I feel like Triple H needs to keep on shoving match after match on Raw and instead just give us more compelling storyline segments. Well, that's really interesting, isn't it? Because on Raw, it is like quite like match after match after match. And we don't really get those big kind of promo set, which is weird because that's the 3-hour show. We do get promos, of course. We get Drew, we get Seth, but we don't get anything as epic as what we saw on SmackDown. I don't know that people want to see more of that. I think people are kind of split that, you know, it was epic, it was cinema, but it was also a bit long, I think, for a fair few people. So I don't know, but I feel like on Raw you would get away with that a lot better because it's a 3-hour show. It is a bit strange that we did a 40-minute promo segment on the 2-hour show, you know? It's the way it goes, though, isn't it? I mean, that is the show that the Bloodline are on. That is the show that Roman is champion of and whatever. So, and Fox obviously have paid a lot of money for SmackDown, so... Yeah, it's just strange, though, that we haven't been able to work it a different way and get them onto the 3-hour show. But, yeah, fair criticism, I think. Brony said Roman stopping The Rock and telling him to acknowledge him was brilliant. I really enjoyed the show. Main event was solid, and the 40-minute opening segment was pure cinema. But I will say the rest of the show felt a bit rushed, because the opening segment did feel like it went too long. Yes, I agree. Tony said, a very good show that went really quickly, with the Bloodline taking so much time. Glad Bayley was back on our screens, but not surprised that she was turned on yet again. She must now win at Mania. And The Rock did the same finger salute, pointing to Roman again. Did he point to Roman? That's slipped past me. I know he did the finger salute thing, the L, whatever it is, loser, leader, whether it represents both of them being at the top, which I haven't seen many people talking about, but it could represent two. I know that might be a little bit more obvious to do it that way, but actually you can probably get away with doing it that way. If you do that, you're kind of purposefully doing that. Right? If you're meant to be doing that and you end up doing that, you're doing that on purpose. But if you sort of do that, I kind of feel like you could make the argument that he's just sort of getting it a little bit wrong, that's all. Like, I reckon you could make a mistake. That and that is not that far apart. So rather than doing that, you end up doing that. You're still acknowledging, aren't you? It's just the thumb, really. That, I feel, is different. You know, that's different. That, ooh, weird, innit? But, so I know about that, but I didn't see any pointing or anything. You know, like before when he said, I'm going to make sure you lose, you leave WrestleMania as the loser, and he was like pointing over at Roman as he said it. I didn't see any of that, so Tony, you'll have to let me know if we've missed something there. Wrestling fan since day one said one comment, happy dance, let's go. I did say try and put it into one comment because we get so many comments and I want to get through as many as possible, and I really appreciate wrestling fans since day one using their one comment to just bring a bit of joy to this video. So shout out to you, my friends. Matt Smith said The Rock's promo was perfect, and I love the little things that can be dissected from it, and the build-up for matches was done well. Very cool. Chris, 3 out of 10. Oh, 3 out of 10. Chris, you should have fleshed that out. I'd like to have known how, why. 3 out of 10. Dean said, I thought SmackDown was fire, but Bron Breakker match could have gone on after the Rock segment. I think that might have been better for the Tiffy match. Yeah, good point. And do you know, I saw someone saying that Randy Austin Theory shouldn't have closed the show. It should have been Dakota turning on Bayley, and I kind of liked that as well. Because the show ended with like Kevin and Randy sort of being on the same page. Like, I don't know, that didn't feel that special. It didn't feel like that big of an ending. Whereas Dakota turning on Bayley, that could have been interesting. That could have been a much more, a better ending, I thought. So I am very surprised, and I saw people saying, why didn't they go that way? I don't really have an answer, other than it was only like a 4-minute match. So perhaps they looked at it and they thought, well, we're not going to be doing much of a match, so we can't really put it as the main event. But as a closing image, Bayley being beaten down by Damage Control as Dakota laughs her head up, that's a much stronger closing image than what we ended up getting. Although I will just take this opportunity to say there are a lot of people saying it is interesting that Kevin and Randy are as close as what they are, because we know that Randy is going into a feud with Logan, right? And so Kevin being around is very interesting, because does Kevin find his way into that match? Is this gonna lead to other people joining the match? Is he just gonna be in Randy's corner? Like, where's this going? Does kind of feel like Randy and Kevin against Logan and someone could be a potential. I'm not saying Jake or anything like that, and I'm not even saying WrestleMania. I mean, on the road to WrestleMania, a tag match definitely feels like there's a chance we could do that. But yeah, I don't know. It is interesting. I mean, how does he fit into this equation? This certainly feels like where Kevin is going to be for WrestleMania, but how is he going to fit in? Right. Boring Rock killed the vibe, said up top. Ooh. Jacob said, I feel like Rock Roman segment was segment of the year. I would have it just ahead of the Punk promo after his injury. Interesting. Haven't even thought about segment of the year, to be honest. It's a really good point, that is. Haven't even thought about segment of the year. Yeah, that's interesting. I might have to start giving that some thought. What's up? Hope you're doing well, said Harry. Rock Roman winning that tag match to make it Bloodline rules would be as good as it can to make it feel as if Cody is taking on all against all the odds, etc. I don't see Cody and Seth winning, as no Bloodline involvement equals no Rock to make it interesting. I agree. I think Bloodline win. I think that makes it Bloodline rules. I think that stacks the deck against Cody. I think that's the way it should be. I think then what we do is we start bringing down people to eliminate Rock, Solo, Jimmy. You know, you bring down Jay. He deals with Jimmy. You bring down maybe Stone Cold. He can deal with The Rock. You bring down Randy Orton. He can deal with Solo. And basically, we get down to Cody and Roman one-on-one, right? We get down to that. I am wondering if they are planting seeds for a bit of a split between Rock and Roman, and if that split comes after WrestleMania. I know a lot of people are thinking that The Rock is working with Cody, and he absolutely could be. He absolutely could be. And a lot of people are thinking that he might turn on Roman at WrestleMania, and he absolutely could as well, right? We're not ruling it out. But as I said earlier, I would just worry that people would then say that Cody wasn't really champ. He hadn't really earned it. He'd only got it because The Rock had turned on Roman, and I don't know, that bugs me a bit, to be honest. So for me personally, I would much rather go down the path where we bring down some people to deal with the Bloodline, and then we do Rock turning on Roman after WrestleMania. So, but again, you know, there are so many options on the table. I have no idea which one they're going to choose. I have no idea which path they're going to go down. Sam said it was a great show. However, the Bloodline segment definitely ran too long. Would have been a 10 out of 10 show with the right pacing. Just fall short because The Rock waffling on about drugs. Who thought that you would write that line? Hey? Who thought you would jot that down today? Chris said the Dakota Kai betrayal was disappointing. They should have had her kick Bayley's head off. Would have been much better. They are definitely making Bayley out to be a sympathetic babyface. I predict that Jade Cargill is going to help Bayley out. Bookmark it. No, I agree. I mean, there was that backstage segment, wasn't there, where she confronted Damage Control, and she even went on social media after to say that someone needs to teach them a lesson. So definitely feels like Damage Control are in Jade's sight, if you will. It's just who else is going to help, because there's a lot of Damage Control, so we're going to need a few more numbers. So definitely feel like Bianca can find a way into that, and we might even need one more. And I was wondering about Michin, who now finds herself kind of without Gallows, without Anderson, without AJ, without the OC. Could Michin find a way into this? Brandon, shout out to you, buds. Appreciate it. I don't know which one Brandon is there. I think Brandon's the one with the bottle. So, Brandon, shout out to you. You've got your priorities right, my friend. Kenny said, I rewinded this. Look at Paul E looking at The Rock. It's absolute theatre. Yeah, and you know what? You've got the screenshot of a really great moment there, because you've got a really good facial expression as well. So, yeah, that is Paul Heyman noticing The Rock, and obviously the hand gesture, which he's not doing correctly. And I'm sure there's going to be a word, but Heyman's not going to want to really talk to The Rock in any sort of disrespectful way. So, you know, there could be a really fun sort of backstage segment where he wants to talk to him about it, but it's all a bit awkward, and, like, that could be fun. Right, Michael said the promo was all right, and Damage Control turn on Bayley, like, really, but I didn't get the Rock promo, and Bron was excellent match, really, and was all right, just bored of the Rock and Roman now. Okay, so what, the Bron match was excellent, you enjoyed it. It was only like 8 seconds, but I mean, it did what it needed to do, in all fairness. Did what it needed to do. Deriz fan 2024 said The Rock is one something. I'm not even sure if that's a real number. I think it is a real number. Costin Reigns at WrestleMania. I have zero doubt about this. The Rock and Reigns will win the tag match at WrestleMania 40, and on night 2, The Rock will cost Roman his title. Rico said the start of SmackDown was clunky. The Rock comes out and can't get his shirt unbuttoned to show us the goosebumps. There's no reason for Ali to be in the production truck. I think Mustafa Ali with the black screen. Well, the black screen, as we know, was because of that Die Rocky Die sign. So the dude in the crowd had Die Rocky Die, and apparently the network did not want that shown. So that's why there was the black screen and everything. I'm here for coke and meth city stats. Who knew? So, Rico, shout out to you. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? Crazy. I would love to know the other cities that are up there for coke and meth usage. You know, who's number 2 behind Phoenix? Yeah, that could have been fun if he'd have run down the top 10. Perhaps he'll do other drugs. Perhaps we'll do heroin next week. Alex said, just cinema. That's all you can say. I would argue The Rock's promo earlier in the day set the bar for tonight's SmackDown, and now we've pretty much got clarity on what we're doing on night 1. When Roman stopped Rock on the mic, the world stopped. Robbie said, solid show. Roman's segment was just cinema. Think the tag match will be a banger. Love the tease of the tension between the two, and yet again the L signal from Rock. Split coming night 2 at Mania, question mark. Maybe the whole of the bloodline end up betraying, leaving Roman. Yeah, I'd prefer that. I think for me, the final stages of WrestleMania Night 2, however we get there, should be Cody and Roman in the ring on their own, and it's, you know, winner wins the championship. All that noise, all that external noise, it's gone, right? It now just comes down to these two, and it's going to come down to who is the one that deserves the title, who is the true champion, undisputed champion of WWE. Who is that person? So for me, that's what I'm hoping that it comes down to. Those two, you know, final few minutes, final 5 minutes, both trying to outmaneuver each other, and hopefully Cody gets the victory. So I think Bloodline betraying and leaving is a interesting thought. Connor said, a very good show. Felt it was a very well balanced show throughout. Our dog said, Daze, Raphael here. SmackDown was great, 9 out of 10. I saw The Rock announce the tag match as expected with special win conditions. Bayley being betrayed by Dakota was known all along at the start due to her fake attack last week. Rey Mysterio returning was awesome. Yeah, true. Ryan said, I wonder who they're going to have help Bayley. Well, we think Jade's, and we're thinking Bianca, and as we said earlier, I'm leaning Michin. But not really for any reason other than she's been abandoned. So I feel like she needs something to do, and she's a good, experienced hand, you know. Justin said Bayley fighting an uphill battle only makes her sympathetic and will have the story be more epic. I personally didn't think WWE was going with the tag match, but WWE has done well to make it unpredictable. I think we're getting Logan to face Orton and Kevin at WrestleMania. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the tag match. I'm still not really, to be honest. I'm not really a fan of people working 2 nights in a row when they don't have to. You run the risk of an injury on night 1, which could really affect night 2. I mean, you know, chances are that that won't be an issue, but I just sort of think, like, you know, are we taking a main event away from someone? Are we... I don't know. It's really tricky, isn't it? It's really tricky. Are we running the risk of injury? Are we running the risk of overexposure? I mean, at the moment, Seth's having 2 matches, Roman's having 2 matches, Cody's having 2 matches. So, you know, we've got a few there that are having 2 matches. That means surely there'll be people that won't make the card now. I don't know. You know, it's not a biggie. None of these are biggies, really. They're just little, you know, minor little gripes, minor little criticisms. But, yeah, it wasn't the direction that I was looking to go, but I'm not massively down on it. I mean, the tag match will be amazing, and I do love the stipulations. I think the stipulations really do add to it. So I do appreciate that, in all fairness. Right, Melanie said, it was okay, but the match with Bayley was dumb. Vamphy said the opening promo was everything. Absolutely perfection, in my opinion. It tied up a lot of confusion from previous unanswered questions, in my opinion. Now Rock said if Cody wins the tag match, no bloodline, yet he didn't mention Tama Tonga if WWE goes that route. Esmeralda said, I kind of knew that Dakota might betray Bayley. Now I wonder who will help or be on Bayley's side, especially on her match at WrestleMania, because I do want Bayley to win. Yeah, well, I mean, that's true, actually, because obviously it's just Bayley EO, but you'd be foolish to think that EO won't have damage control helping her. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at... As we said, Jade, Bianca, Michin is the name that I'm floating around. It could easily be other people, of course, but Jade feels almost locked with her confronting damage control backstage. That definitely felt like a big indicator because they didn't need to do that. She could have just been backstage with, Nick Aldis, signing a contract or whatever. But we had her confront in Damage Control, and she even made some comments on social media after, if you saw Unseen. So she definitely feels like she's locked to be one of them. Richard said, this is different. I think we have an answer that Bayley should join Judgment Day if Dakota Kai would regret the decision to turn on her. So what, you'd have Bayley join Judgment Day? Technically they're Raw, but because they are tag champs, at the moment they are represented on both shows. But did you see that Nick Aldis said we're going to have a conversation, an announcement about the tag division? It is believed that those tag belts are going to be separated, and Raw will get its own champs and SmackDown will get its own champs. So unfortunately, if that happens, I think Judgment Day are going to be on the other brand to Bayley. Plus also at the moment they are heels. Bayley looks like she's going to be a face. They've already got Mommy. I don't know if there's room for Bayley, so I don't know that it's going to go that way, my friend. But well, never say never with WWE. That's what we've learned. T. Hayes said The Rock is the owner. He's the boss. He signs the paychecks. Roman is the big boss man. Jimmy and Solo is Patterson and Briscoe. Paul Heyman is Stephanie. Cody Rhodes is Stone Cold. And Seth Rollins is Mick Foley. So if we're pairing them up to the Attitude Era, T. Hayes has got it kind of fit in that way. Brady said, I think Kevin Owens and CM Punk need to do commentary at least one time because they are both hilarious. Nikki said, is Seth Rollins going to pull double duty on the same night? I think his match with Drew will be on night one as well. I wouldn't think so. I mean, it has been done before, of course. You know, WrestleMania 10 comes to mind, for example. Daniel Bryan at 30 comes to mind. So it has been done. But I don't know. I sort of feel like he's just come back from injury. It's a hell of an ask to make him do 2 matches on one day. And not just any 2 matches, not 2 house show matches, 2 WrestleMania matches, with one of them potentially being the main event. So I don't know, man. I think that's a lot to put on his plate. I personally would move it to night 2. I think that if you have like the women's championships, you have like mid-card championship, you have Rock, that massive tag match as the main event, I don't think anyone's going to feel cheated. Plus also the excitement of WrestleMania, day one, tuning in, you know. I think that would be enough. I don't think that would be a problem. And then you've got your 2, men's world championship matches for night 2. And probably the rest of the card might be a little, not thin. Every match is going to be a banger. But I don't know, perhaps some of the less appealing matches might slip onto night 2. And then you have like a pretty big top end of the card. But night 1 might be a little more stacked. So I don't know. I think there's an argument for putting both of the world championships on night 2, to be honest, and doing that as maybe the co-main event and the main event. So. Right, we've got Matt that said, an incredible episode. The crowd was on fire, and seeing all those signs gave me big Attitude Era vibes. WWE is so back, says I'm back, baby, says Matt. Yeah, I agree. I did think that as well. There was a lot of Die Rocky Die as well. That also definitely made me think about the Attitude Era. So this feels like a good time to bring up the matches, right? And we have got, at the moment, the red line is where this show is going. Currently, this is going to be the highest rated show we have ever watched. That's currently where it's going. It's going in at number 1, right? So that's where it is at the moment. If you want to vote on the show, you can go to Wrestling Daze Clips, the second channel, and you can vote if you go to the community tab. And at the moment, it's going in at number 1. So you can vote that it's either an all-time show. You can say it was a great show. You can say it was good. You can say it was okay. Okay would be, or it was passable, right? Or was it bad, right? Those are the 5 options. At the moment, as we said, it's going in at number 1. In regards to the matches, these are the matches. So, 5 matches. You can see Bron Breakker at the bottom, of course. It was only 8 seconds long. Kabuki Warriors against Bayley and Dakota Kai in second place. That was, I think, only 4 minutes long. And, of course, really, it was just about Dakota turning on Bayley. So, those ones, you know, there's not really much to them. If anything, I'm quite surprised they got kind of the love that they got, really. But even so, they're towards the bottom. Then Tiffany against Naomi didn't actually fare all that much better. I mean, only 5% better than Kabuki Warriors and Bayley and Dakota Kai. So, seems like people weren't... I mean, it was hard though, wasn't it? I think we were still all feeling it from that massive 40-minute promo. So, it probably suffered for that reason. But Randy against Theory, I thought scored very well. That actually came out as a great match. And the match I would agree with, actually, this is the match I think was match of the night, and it is the Carlito Santos Escobar match. So, to be honest with you, I don't think that looks too out. I mean, maybe you could have a debate about Randy and Austin Theory against Tiffany, Naomi, which one was better. But I think the Randy Austin Theory match deserves to be higher. Bron being at the bottom, Kabuki Warriors. Yeah, for me personally, I don't have any arguments with that. If we just have a look and see how that kind of affects things. So these are all the matches. You can see all the ones in yellow. They're the great matches. These are all the great matches that we've had this year. So you can see here, look, there's the Orton Theory one. Right, so that's gone in there. There is Carlito Santos Escobar. So it's actually gone in pretty close to the middle of the pack, whereas the Randy Theory one's gone down a little bit lower. That's certainly getting towards the bottom end. But even so, just getting into this great range here is brilliant, because there's not tons of matches. This is every NXT, every Raw, every SmackDown, every premium live event of the year so far in WWE. You can see there's a lot more good matches. Look at all these. Look at all these. So there's loads of good matches, right? Loads and loads of those. But yeah, not that many. And only one all-time match, which, as we keep saying, I'm still not convinced about. I think it was the very first match of the year. I think we were still finding our feet. And if we rescored it, I'm not sure that it would be that high. So that is still up there. But yeah, that's where all the matches and everything scored. Right, let's continue, shall we? So, Magic Dak69 said, Daze, I watched the stream, and as I know you strongly believe Rock Roman win night 1, but I think this is Rock's way of making it fair for Cody on night 2. We will have Rock turn on Roman night 1, and when Roman needs help in night 2, Rock tells the Bloodline, no. That would set up their feud for next year, however they choose to do it. That's fair, honestly. That's absolutely fair. I don't personally think it's going to go that way, but I don't think you're silly for thinking it's going to go that way, or even wrong for thinking it's going to go that way. Like, it's a very viable option that's on the table. Right, the only reason, and I've already given my reasons, and as you said, you've watched the stream and you know why I think what I think. I just think that when it comes to a babyface, you want to make it as hard as possible. There is an alternative argument, though, that Cody and The Rock have been working together and they've been working for this moment. The only problem you've got is if Cody and The Rock are secretly working together, that would mean that the second the bell rings in the main event of night 1, you know, we're not going to get much of a match because The Rock is working with Cody. And so why will he want to wrestle? Why will he want to get in there and compete? Like, why will he might want to do a little bit, like, whatever, but, you know, why are we going to get, like, because I'm sure you're expecting a banger of a main event. I'm hoping for a banger of a main event. Why would we get that if The Rock is secretly working with Cody and he's going to turn on Roman at some point in the match? You know, if they do a 20-minute match and then The Rock turns on him, I think a lot of people might question, why did we just watch that match? Like, what was that all about? We watched all of that just for The Rock to turn on him. And why did he wait so long? So I would have a little doubt about that bit right? That would definitely need explaining to me. But yeah, this is why I'm thinking that it'll be Rock and Roman that win. Because then what you do is you make it harder for Cody on night 2. And then that means that you can put obstacles in his way. And then you can, what's more interesting, find ways of removing those obstacles. Be it a Stone Cold, be it a Randy Orton, so on, so on, so on. But as I said, I don't think that it's, you're wrong to think different to me. Of course you're not. But it's just... Yeah, I think I'm still where I was. I'm still thinking that it'll be a case that Rock and Roman win. But do you know what? I've been wrong before. Happened once. I think it was the 80s. I'm not sure. Ryder said, great show, 8.75. Every segment felt like it had been a talking point. And some OMG moments. Very hot crowds. And the opening segment was cinema. Watson said, I feel like the tag match, I like the tag match, but I hope that Drew gets Seth out of it. It would be awesome if Triple H was with Cody, but that can't happen, unfortunately. But I'm holding on for Cena or Stone Cold to step in for Seth. When Roman stopped Rock's hand, I've not had that reaction since Tribal Court. Yeah, wasn't it Jay that stopped Solo from delivering that Samoan spike to Sammy? I agree, man. Do you know what? It's a really interesting point. What if Seth is removed and Stone Cold is put in his place? And basically we're getting Rock Stone Cold in a tag match, you know, on night 1. Like, that could be really cool. It could be a way of them facing off. Because we know Stone Cold is interested if he can find the right opponent. Like, WrestleMania 40, main event again. Facing an old foe, but this time with a bit of a twist with Roman and Cody also involved. 2 of the biggest guys from the Attitude Era with 2 of the biggest guys from this era. You might be onto something there, you know. You might be onto something. Robert said, again, I think it was a good show tonight. I love the tease of the tag titles splitting soon. Atharv said, one of the best shows of the year. Out of all the amazing stuff that happened, Austin Theory selling the RKO and the stunner topped it all off for me. He deserves more props. Yeah, that is, I mean, that's done the rounds, hasn't it? All over social media. We, I think, put it in Unseen as well. He does sell RKOs and stunners so well. So well. Justin said the Rock Roman segment was great. Vetrix said cinema. It's great to be a pro wrestling fan, especially during this epic time. Like The Rock said, wrestling is cool again. Regular, everyday, normal guys said KO and Orton should go for the tag titles once they've split. Would be fun run, keeping them both on top. Bayley needs help, but from who? Definitely made WrestleMania more interesting with Cody, Seth, Roman, Rock. Not sold on Rock truly acknowledging Roman. He briefly threw up the L. Prakar said, so Rock had an icon versus icon match versus Hogan, Cena, and most probably at next year's WrestleMania against Roman. It proves that The Rock is certainly the biggest superstar wrestling will ever produce. Oof. Hot topic, that one. Hot topic. I mean, I think he's in the conversation. Definitely in the conversation. But I don't know, man. Hogan had some big matches. Hogan Andre, Hogan Warrior. You know, Hogan was in that match with Rock as well. And then, of course, you got Stone Cold. John Cena had some big matches. Shawn Michaels is Mr. WrestleMania, but I don't think I can make much of an argument for Shawn being as big as The Rock, right? So I feel like it would be a Cena, it would be a Hogan, maybe an Undertaker? What about an Undertaker? I don't know, man. It's a tasty one, isn't it? I feel like we could use up the remaining 17 minutes that we've got just on this alone, so we're going to move on. Angie said, when it comes to the opening segment, Roman's face initially when Rock was making the challenge was conflicted and confused. And then after Rock acknowledged him, he was his normal cocky self. It was absolutely gold. Eric said, I think it was great. I have a feeling we're getting the whole bloodline turning on Roman and joining The Rock at WrestleMania. It's Bryn again said tonight's SmackDown felt crucial when it comes to storyline telling. What I wanted to see. The tease of the tag title splitting, The Rock doing the same hand gesture, Roman looking visibly annoyed, Bayley being turned on, and then seeing Jade. The show felt important. Philly Wrestling Hub said, as good as the Bloodline segment was, I feel it went on too long. Could have fit maybe a match or two in there. City Fan 24 said, an amazing show. Great start to SmackDown. Loved the main event. Sean said, twists and turns, keeping us guessing, always makes for a great show. I look forward to hearing from Seth and Drew as the Bloodline is screwing him over again from the main events. Yeah, Drew's not going to be happy, is he? Because Drew said he didn't want any outside interference. He didn't want anything to take away from their match. And now all of a sudden Seth finds himself in a second match. Like, he's not going to want that. He's not going to want that. I wonder if Drew might demand that they have their match before the tag match so that he gets Seth, like, at his best. That might be an interesting way to go, because he did say he doesn't want anything to taint his victory. When he wins, he wants full credit for winning. He doesn't want anything to take away from it. So, yeah, I agree with you that Raw is not going to be as big because it doesn't have Roman, it doesn't have The Rock, but it is still going to be unmissable because we're going to be hearing from Cody, we're going to be hearing from Seth, we're going to be hearing from Drew, right? It's obviously there's a lot going on at the moment on not just SmackDown, Raw as well, of course. Kian said, where do we start? There's so much to unpack from that Bloodline segment. What's The Rock cooking? He defo turning. He looked so uncomfortable acknowledging Roman. The tone in his voice. Roman looked uncomfortable being overshadowed. If you look at the body language, there's just too much, says Kian. Wrestle with Andy, shout out to you. Look at this picture. Long-term booking. Finally paying off there. We've got, look, Roman. We've got Stardust. I can see Gold Dust in the background. Don't know where this is. Skyline Orange Bus. Don't know. Doesn't feel like London or anything, although I can see rain on the pavement, so it definitely makes me think of London. But I think they do have rain in other places. Although that sign there says bees, so I think that's Applebee's, and we don't have that in the UK. So I'm guessing this must be in the US. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't get any further than that, but we've established there's an Applebee's. It's raining. I'm going to go New York City. I'm going New York. I've done it. I've said it. And we'll never know. So, Wrestle with Andy, shout out to you. There's the sell of Austin Theory. Amazing. Nando said the show was amazing. Honestly, the best SmackDown I can remember for a while. Rock WrestleMania proposal. Roman telling Rock to acknowledge him, and he did. It gave me chills. Fun tiff match. Good street fight with Rey Mysterio return. Tag team title split tease, and a fun main event. Jeff, shout out to you, said SmackDown was a decent show tonight. Bloodline segment went too long, over 40 minutes, and the censorship kind of took me out. Yeah, I didn't get that in the UK. I was very fortunate we didn't get those black screens here. But what really struck me was Roman asking The Rock to acknowledge me. I still say The Rock is going to turn on Roman in some way. Dave in Real Life said an awesome show. The Rock smashed it out the park. Dakota turning was predictable, but I still enjoyed it. As Bayley will get sweet ending at Mania, maybe a bit of help from Jade. Ray is back, and Randy and Kevin destroying Theory and Waller to finish the show. 7.5 Loved it. Dave, hope you well. Stampall said, great for main events, awful for mid-cards. What is in the mid-cards? I thought we did well with Ray, Santos. I feel like that, got some progress. What else have we got really going on in the mid-card? I mean, I would agree, Bobby, Final Testament, that ended up being a digital exclusive segment, so that wasn't shown. Logan wasn't on at all. That's next week, but I feel like we might have made a bit of progress with Randy and Kevin. Definitely feels like there's a union there of some degree. Yeah, I don't think that's unfair, actually. I don't think that's unfair. I think that it was, 40 minutes took up, the whole bloodline stuff, so of course that's going to be very bloodline heavy. Yeah, I think, look, at the end of the day, that opening segment went too long. I think we all know that, and we can all see that. And I think that had it have been tighter, then there would have been more room to breathe for everyone else. But as it was, it was just really rushed in places. And I think actually the pacing of the show just sort of suffered in a few areas. Perhaps it would have felt a bit better if it just had that little bit more room to breathe, I scored it about an 8.5, 8.75 out of 10. That was my score. I gave that on the little separate review video that I did, which has had really great feedback. So thank you, everyone that's left feedback on that. I will look to do that again for Raw. But yeah, I gave my score 8.5, 8.75. I was wasn't too sure where I was going to land there. For me, the pacing was just a little off because the promo overran. And I also think some of the matches were just a little weak as a result. I'd like that Tiffany match to have been that little bit stronger. I think I would have liked the Bron Breakker. The Bron Breakker match, it was what it was, wasn't it? You can't really score it down for that, but the Bayley Dakota match probably could have done with a bit more there. I think the main event could have been a bit better. I sort of feel like if the certain matches were a bit stronger and the pacing was a little bit better, we're in the 9s then. It really is packing a lot of stuff, as people have already said. So I can understand why it's been received as well as what it has. Chris said, in my opinion, this is when the Rock versus Roman story began. Bobba Fetty Wap said a 10, an effing 10. Gio the Theo said Rock Roman segment was way too long, but it ended up being quite good. Bayley Dakota moment was good. I don't really get why the term was necessary, but it was entertaining. Matches were solid, but the best match from tonight was Carlito Santos in a street fight. I agree with that. I agree. Del Boy said, hear me out. Here we go. Hear me out. This was one of easily the top to bottom best SmackDown shows in a long time. And also one of the best long segments on SmackDown ever. The Rock challenged Cody and Seth for a tag match at Mania 40. Big fat dub. And The Rock acknowledged Roman was absolutely crazy. Goosebumps, cinema. Love it. The Rock starting doing the L, then switching a few seconds later to the actual pose is something is cooking up. Dakota turned heel. It was good to see. Ray is back. Great to see him back in action. Possibly having a Mania match, LWO versus LDF. Legado del Fantasma. Multi-tag match. Finally, we about getting split the tag titles is needed. Too much talent in the tag division to have the titles unified. Can't wait. Road to WrestleMania 40 has already started cooking. Del Boy, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Billy said, the best Dakota Kai showing. Who's the best? Will be world champion this year, I hope. Rock and Roman did amazing. Everything else was great. 10 out of 10. Acknowledge Dakota Kai and the Bloodline. And Chris said The Rock couldn't do his Instagram promo on SmackDown because it was 21 minutes long. But he did this, which was 27 minutes long. I did respond to Chris on that. I was like, this is probably why, though. I'd imagine that if he did his 20 minutes on top of this, could you imagine? We've already said, haven't we, that, like, like this overran. I mean, there's no way he could have done what he did on social media on this show as well. You know, he could have done it instead, but he couldn't have done it as well. So yeah, it was one of those, you know. I think we can understand why he put it on social media, because I think he knew what he was going to be saying on the show, and it was not what he said on social media. Let's have a view of the quoted tweets. How many got? Oh, we might get through all of these. Nathan said, decent. Not a big fan of Roman, Seth, and Cody doing double duties, though. I think that's dumb. I don't think that's unfair, to be honest. I don't think that's unfair. The tag match was looking very likely, so it's gone the way that I think it's been kind of hinting that it was going to. But yeah, double duty, I mean, if we could avoid it, I think it would have been better avoided. But I don't know, man. I mean, look, if the end result is going to be something like Stone Cold Rock, and we're just going to have like Roman and Cody out there to just sort of support if needed, so that we can have a longer, more meaningful match than I think Rock and Stone Cold could do in 2024. That would be amazing. I don't know that it's going that way, of course. Could be that we do end up with the match that we're getting with Seth and everything, but I don't know. It's one of those. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. I still do expect a few twists and turns. And then Kian said, I thought it was good SmackDown. I thought the Rock and Roman segment was good. We knew that the tag match would be happening, and the Dakota turn was expected. Carlito Santos match was fun, and Tiffany match was okay. Randy versus Theory was a great match, and it was a good stream. Well, Kian, thank you very much, and a big thank you to everyone that joined us. I mean, we managed to get through all those comments. I know I wasn't able to kind of add much commentary to the majority. I just wanted to make sure we got through as many as possible, and we know that we always cut off when we get to that hour mark. I'm quite strict on that. So yeah, brilliant. As I said, I really enjoyed the show. I scored it like an 8.5, 8.75. I think any little criticisms that I've got or concerns that I've got, they are pretty minor, to be honest. WWE are cooking at the moment. We're in a really good place at the moment. I'm really looking forward. I'm excited to watch the shows. I can't wait to watch Raw. Couldn't wait to watch SmackDown. Can't wait to watch. I can't wait to watch Roadblock, NXT on Tuesday as well. So we might even do one of these type videos following that, because that's a pretty big show for NXT. So yeah, amazing. So thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed this opinions video. Don't forget, Unseen is on the channel. There'll be another Unseen tonight, of course. And yeah, just massively appreciate all the support. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.